I know Chris Jones was out to visit me last week, and others of you have come in the past couple of years, and I hope I can invite you with a very warm welcome to come and visit us in Abingdon at William King Regional Arts Center. I'm also delighted to be preceding my colleague Sandy Rusak and Foster Billingsley from the Virginia Museum and from the Virginia Commission for the Arts. William King Regional Arts Center is a private, nonprofit, funded by grants and contributions from federal, state, and local sources, both public and private, and supplemented, which is a very important word, by a very small percentage, about 20% of earned income from tuition from classes and things like that. Now, though we were incorporated in 1979, which is a pretty long time ago, we transformed ourselves, like you are here, about 15 years ago to expand our work focus from local to regional. And since that time, our operating budget has grown from approximately $50,000 a year to the current $1.4 million. We have also done extensive renovations to this, our facility, adapting it to a high-security museum facility, and are about to embark upon another $7 million construction project, which is a part of Southwest Virginia's new creative economy initiatives. If we've had some success in our growth, it has been due to our initial and continuing belief that partnerships make for success. In 1988, we had a derelict building here, but an enthusiastic, however perplexed committee that hoped to save this old, decaying school in the middle of Abingdon and create some sort of cultural center out of it. We did not know what. So we made the happy decision that started us off on a road of partnerships that have sustained us through these many years, reaching beyond our boundaries, which is another, I think, important point, that we didn't operate in isolation. We took full advantage of what the Commonwealth of Virginia had to offer all of its citizens, and still does. A self-study tour organized by the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts for us, the Virginia Commission for the Arts for us, and the Virginia Association of Museums of Arts, Virginia Association of Museums for us, was put together, and off we went around the state to see what we could see that were good examples that we could possibly bring home to Abingdon. And we also look at our own backyard. You'll look at that map and see where Abingdon is, and everything beyond Abingdon and above it is what's called far Southwest Virginia. We discovered a similar void in each surrounding county we studied until our anticipated service area expanded greatly beyond what we thought was going to be our service area, Washington County, to include 11 counties and 3 cities. We discovered 2 actual physical voids and 1 perception problem that existed region-wide. So we set about to renovate that building and create our mission to be useful to the region, to try to address those voids. And we used our new partners at the state all along the way. What we found, number one, was there were no high-security gallery spaces in the entire 5,000 square miles that we were looking at, not one single high-security space. So that translates into everybody who lived there had no opportunity to view original works of art, particularly historical original works of art, unless they drove at least 2 hours to Roanoke, or 2 hours the other way to Knoxville, or 5 hours to Richmond, or in some cases, if we were out at the furthest tip of Virginia, 7 or 8 hours to Richmond. So this was a significant void. It had been there for a long time, long enough that no one even knew what they were missing. Now, we knew that we had to go the extra expense of creating climate-controlled and secure galleries with all the staffing and equipment that went along with that. With the help of the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, we started on a long road to national accreditation by the American Association of Museums, which we proudly achieved in 2004. Based, however, on our own region's needs and our wish to be useful, We are a different museum than one traditionally expects because we don't concentrate on building art collections of our own, but on showing the collections of others so that we are able to showcase a rotating schedule of many kinds of art to a region that had never had this opportunity. If you look at this slide, right there in the middle you see an image from our exhibition of Feast, which is the Virginia Museum's Look Here series. It is an original work of art that was in a part of that exhibition in our galleries not very long ago. We could never have had that without our accreditation and without our intention to be a high security gallery. And therefore, the school children that came in to see it and the adults who lived there to come to see it also would never have been able to see something like that. Another example is up on the left. That's an exhibition called Virginia Collects. It's actually the whole Commonwealth of Virginia's art collection that moved itself out to Abingdon when the Capitol was being renovated. We only could do that because of our high security galleries. And it was a wonderful way for the Commonwealth to share its collection with the people who live really at the furthest reaches of it. And on the bottom left, we have some original works of art from painters like John Singer Sargent, also another example of what we're able to show in our galleries. And those are pictures of our galleries. The quote there by the hospital administrator pretty much says it all. That is one of our funding partners that enables us to bring these kinds of things to Southwest Virginia. Now, the second need that we found was a perception problem. We found that Southwest Virginia had a poor image amongst its own people. It is a beautiful place to live, but not much had ever come out of it, they said. So in 1994, we initiated what we had called the Cultural Heritage Project, and it was funded by a National Endowment for the Arts grant in which we surveyed all those 5,000 square miles for the material culture and decorative arts history of the region. Our goal was to raise awareness of and appreciation for Southwest Virginia's cultural legacy, and we didn't know what we would find. This time, we partnered with the Blue Ridge Institute, which is right down the road from you, Columbia Williamsburg, the Valentine Museum in Richmond, and others like the Museum of Early Southern Decorative Arts to help us. We traveled all over this same territory, as I said, and ended up taking snapshots and field notes and documenting some 2,000 objects that were handmade in our area by artisans during the 19th century. The Cultural Heritage Project has resulted in 20 exhibitions, like the one up on the top left, a permanent collection that's very small, like a piece of pottery on the right, a book, Great Road Style, The Decorative Arts Legacy of Southwest Virginia, published by the University of Virginia Press in 2006, and a partnership, a new partnership with the town of Abingdon, who owns this house museum here, and we manage it and keep our permanent collection there, and now have a new school program that I think Chris visited last week that uses that. Now, significantly, the third and big important problem that we found in Southwest Virginia was in that entire 11 county, 3 city areas, there was not an art teacher at the elementary level anywhere. That's astounding. And I understand that you have them here at least to some capacity. We didn't have any. So once again, in our quest to be useful, we started developing an aggressive school program using the Virginia Standards of Learning as the planning focus, of course, and started with the 3rd grade. We developed a program called Art Express, which takes 3rd graders into our galleries and for a companion hands-on activity that reflects what they've seen in the galleries and reinforces it using the Virginia Standards of Learning. We also have art camps in the summertime, all summer long for children. We have summer teacher institutes. We do a lot of training for teachers, recognizing that the regular classroom non-art teacher, I was one of those long ago, so I could identify with that, needed some help in being able to integrate art across the curriculum. And so our teacher training does that, and we often partner once again with the Virginia Museum for our teacher training. What you see there is Jeffrey Allison from the Virginia Museum with 2 art teachers from our region. And then lastly, in about the year 2000, you recognize that a lot of the school children are coming on a bus ride 2.5 hours to get to the Art Center for the third grade program. If they're coming from the furthest reaches of Lee County, for instance, where the Cumberland Gap is. Some of the school superintendents wanted us to develop an outreach program that takes art to them. We resisted for a while, thinking that if we did that, they would never put art teachers back at the elementary level. But finally, we came to the conclusion that we probably, using all of our partnerships, could develop a program that was deeper and richer than each art teacher operating in isolation. So Van Gogh Outreach, which you can see up there on our vans, was born, and it's a pretty wonderful program in direct response to the superintendents of schools and to our legislators. It is actually our most extensive program, and it's one that we take to all 14 school districts. It's a second grade program, and it uses, since we can't take the original works of art out, we plan this program around the second grade SOL cultures of study, ancient Egypt and China and Native American traditions. Right there, you're seeing children from Lee County. That's a very famous mountain in the back of them. That's Ewing, E-W-I-N-G. They're standing there with their Native American traditions projects having their picture taken. But Van Gogh Outreach illustrates William King Regional Art Center's willingness to literally go the extra mile, traveling around these 5,000 square miles every day in our service area to deliver this program to every second grader 4 times a year. There are 90-minute instructional periods that we give them 4 times a year. So you can see those numbers up there. There are approximately 4,000 or a little bit more second graders in the region. Our partners in these school endeavors, our partner is really collected around the Southwest Virginia Public Education Consortium, and that includes the school superintendents. But we also partner very, very closely, couldn't do without, all the supervisors of instruction, the principals, and the teachers. This is a very big, bold program, as you can see. Lots of coordination needed, but I understand that you all are thinking about working beyond your county borders. We hope that we have been and are continuing to be a catalyst for positive change, at least in a small way. Mike Quillen, the CEO of one of our energy companies, thinks so. So does Sally Moore, the second grade teacher on the bottom right. And all of our funding partners, businesses and federal and public funding agencies, also think so. While you're looking at that slide for just a second, reading a few of the words, I'd like to tell you what one of the classroom teachers said to me last weekend at the farmer's market. She came dashing up to me and said, "I have to tell you something." I was teaching my class of elementary school. I was teaching my class a unit on New York City and where things were in the world, and we were focusing on New York City, and we were trying to talk about all the art that's in New York City, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the MoMA, and everything else that you can see by going to New York City. And I finished it up, and I thought I really had them going for it, and they understood it. So I said, "Now, children, if you want to see the best art in the whole world, now where do you go?" And 4 or 5 of them jumped up and said, "William King." So I figured we won. At least a small battle, I think. So right now, to conclude this, right now we are on the cusp of growing ourselves in our new creative economy that Southwest Virginia is enjoying. Also, we had a creative economy conference last week ourselves. The Art Center is going to build 2 new buildings. One is an artisan's courtyard, which is a studio complex for teaching art to hopefully high school students, college students, and adults. Another is a new entrance building for us. Our campus is 20 acres in the middle of Abingdon, so we have lots of potential there. The state of Virginia is building a new artisan center that we're calling Heartwood, the artisan gateway to Southwest Virginia. So there's lots and lots going on here. In fact, within the past 2 or 3 years, there has been a true shift in Southwest Virginia's perception of the arts. No longer are its cultural resources viewed as nice but slightly irrelevant in serious discussions about economic development. Perhaps it began with the demise of tobacco and the creation of the Virginia Tobacco Commission. Its forward-thinking members and staff early on recognized that more than traditional industry can revitalize the community and an economy. And they have invested in small and large cultural projects throughout Southwest Virginia. Today, we have a real shift going on that's moving Southwest Virginia along on a rolling tide of prosperity, anticipated and born of energized and slightly unusual partnerships. The Tobacco Commission is still in the forefront, but it has been joined by unlikely federal and state partners, the Appalachian Regional Commission, and the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development, usually interested in infrastructure and sewer and water projects, are taking a leading role in transforming Southwest Virginia's economy to add value to it, not only as an extraordinarily beautiful place, but one that is a successful place, as a place to live and to work and to visit. And they're doing this by partnering with existing cultural organizations, such as William King Regional Arts Center, and actually helping to create new ones, such as the Crooked Road, Round the Mountain, and Heartwood, Southwest Virginia's Artisan Gateway. So, our new creative economy in Southwest Virginia is alive and thriving. My message to you this morning is that it is based solidly on collaborations and partnerships between counties, cities, agencies, nonprofit organizations, businesses, and of course a few individuals like your own Ted Bennett that cross all lines to make sure that these partnerships thrive. And I will say, just to end, that I have found, because I am not actually originally from a rural area, but I have found that rural areas sometimes have an advantage over urban areas. In this, that though we don't have as dense a capital of people and businesses and so forth in our midst, we have much easier access to them. We know them. We don't have to have a secretary turn us off from seeing the boss. We know the boss. We go to church with him. Or we know this person over here that we need to talk to. The lines of communication are so much easier and so much stronger. Ordinarily, our legislators band together to help us together across partisan lines. So I know that you will do well, and I wish you the very best success, and have enjoyed talking with you this morning.